Hi, Yizhao Martins, licensed marriage and family therapist, couples therapist. So last week I started um, the conversation of fighting and how fighting can be a path to intimacy. And some of you may ask me, what are the different fighting styles people have? That's a very good question. So I have my own thoughts, but I also use ChatGPT to help me. Here's what I was searching. I was thinking about attachment styles. I was thinking about nervous system. I think about the couple's dynamics and also the capacity to self-regulate and co-regulate in a relationship. So I put those criterions in, and then asked chat to help me, and they came up with 7 different fighting styles. I combined the two of them together as one because I really don't see any significant differences between the two. And then I added one more, the not fighting modern couple fighting style, which was also called conflict avoidance. So here we have 7 fighting styles. It's just a summary, a lens for you to see what are different ways of people fighting in relationships. And it's not to judge that is good or bad, what is the right way to do it. It's more to understand how each of your nervous system, your own unique attachment style to this partner, and how you regulate and not able to regulate in the relationship that show up as different kind of fighting style. And then once you know where you are in the category, it might be helpful for you to see where any room for improvement for each of you, to find your part in the dance and adjust your movement and see if you can have a better dance together. So I will take time each week to go for one fighting style at a time, but let me just give you the names of all of them summarized by Chad and me. So the first one is the classic pursuer-pursuee dynamic, also known as the Tom and Jerry dynamic. Many of you probably heard me talk about that in couple therapy. Oh, so your style is the pursuer-pursuee. You do this to pursue, you do this to withdraw. And that's how you chase each other off a stage and not having connections, right? So I will be talking more about that today, but that's number 1. So the number 2 fighting style is called the lawyer and the judge. And you can probably have a sense based on the name. It's very intellectualized. Intellectualization is the major defense for this couple. And the third one, they call it a volcanic versus icy. That I combine that with the Stonewall and the Storm together. They're very similar in a way, which is one partner is more expressive in their aggression and having a hard time downregulate, and the other partner is more low arousal or hypoarousal and doesn't have any information crossing the boundary, so there's no true connection. So that's the third. And the fourth one is called the mirror fighters. And those are, we also called the fighting couple. And also, we also say it's called hostile dependent. That is both people's nervous system are all really overstimulated and they feed on each other's energy and they match their tone of voice, their energy level, and their attacks. And so it's like war, right? So that's the fourth one. And the fifth one is the caretaker and the collapsed. That shows up a lot in ADHD affected relationships where the ADHD partner tend to be the one that fall into shame or guilt, and have a hard time feeling the pressure to perform, while the other partner is the soother, caregiver, or fixer, come in to really take care of the ADHD partner's emotions and feelings. The sixth one is called the withdrawer, or the modern couple. That is the couple that probably been married for a long time in the community. Everybody loves them and they're the best couple. They never fight. They appear to be perfect and they both keep their arousal level very low so they don't get agitated. But with years accumulation of unresolved issues, they may erupt at some point, but they don't like that intensity. So they very quickly throw this anger meets the rug and pretend nothing happens until the next eruption. That's number 6. Number 7 is the relatively healthy ones is more collaborative. So they fight in a way they can co-regulate. They tend to have more secure attachment styles, and they take turns to soothe each other and to initiate contact and repair. So let's focus really on the pursuer-pursuee. So what I discovered from chat with his help is the attachment style. The person who pursues tend to have a more anxious, preoccupied anxious attachment style, versus the withdrawer, it tend to have a more anxious avoidant attachment style. So you can see they're actually a good pair. They're the opposite and they attract each other. And the partner who is pursuing tend to be in the sympathetic, which means they're in fight or flight. And the other partner tend to be in dorsal. If you're familiar with the polyvagal theory, dorsal is the red. When after fight or flight, you just burn out and you drop down into not reacting at all. You need to relax, you need to shut down, you need to preserve yourself, totally in survival, right? So both partners are actually not in the ventral, not in the calm, centered place to connect. We can't connect as human beings when our brain is in fight or flight or dorsal shutdown. We can only connect truly and have intimacy when we're in the green zone, we're in the ventral. Right, so I can tell you more about polyvagal theory in the next time, where you can read about it online. So they both very much dysregulated when they're in that place. One is in the yellow, one is in the red, right? And then they can self-regulate a lot of times. Actually, no, the pursuer, the one with more anxious, preoccupied, anxious attachment style, they're the one tend to have a hard time self-regulating. So because of childhood experiences, there's a part of them really want to be regulated. They want their partner to soothe them, to offer comfort, either physical or verbal affirmations and emotional validation, so they feel okay, versus the partner who is being pursued, the withdrawer, tend to be more on the avoidant attachment style, and then they tend to self-regulate and they rely on themselves to self-regulate, and they have a hard time open their boundaries for co-regulation. So you can see one person is saying, well, I want to be co-regulated. The other person is that I only want to self-regulate. In that sense, it's not a good match, isn't it? And they try to change the other person to be more like them, and they tend to judge the other person for not liking them. And that's what drawn them to each other originally, and that's actually separate them. As for connection, they can't truly connect. And people like that tend also have a hard time getting into intimacy because they are all in their very different places. The pursuer tend to be all about their attention energy externally on their partner, and the being pursued feel it's too much stimulation that kind of activate them, similar to their childhood experiences with their caregivers. So they shut down to down-regulate and make sure they're okay. So as you see, it's not a very sustainable connecting pattern as for fighting. So that is the pursuer pursuee, also called Tom and Jerry. We will go down to the next one, the volcanic and icy fighting style next week. See you next week. Bye.